Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me for my tour of the Cutaway, one of the rooms at the global virtual edition of the Other Art Fair. My name is Luke Potkin. I'm the fair director of the Other Art Fair in Sydney and Melbourne, and the Cutaway is our home in Sydney. And here you see our virtual edition of that. So I'm going to give you a little look around the Cutaway. There's over 50 booths for you to go in and explore. So I'm just going to give you a sneak peek of a few of those, but definitely encourage you to have a look around. There's artists from all over the world offering all sorts of different mediums. So yes, definitely worth a further look once you've seen what I've got to show you. With navigation, you can use your mouse just to look left and right, and then the arrows on your keyboard are the best way to actually move around. So you can see all the different artists. You make way around the room and check out their work. You can click on them to get more descriptions. And for ease, if you do know which artist you're looking for, you have this exhibitor list on the right-hand side of the screen. So you can click on that. And as you can see, it gives you all of the different spaces available within this room. So for now, I'm going to jump us straight to Paul Brune's stand, and we'll see what he's got for us. So here you can see the work that Paul has on display. So Paul is a photographic artist from the Netherlands, and he is working in the urban landscape, as you can see, almost taking on abstract visages with the way he creates the work using that urban landscape. And I wanted to go and check out this piece over this side, which was my particular favorite. So as you can see, there's a real familiarity to it. It certainly feels like it's grounded in reality, but what Paul does through his work is create some of these fantastical spaces and kind of otherworldly, impossible spaces that almost speak to Escher's work, another Dutch artist. But this I really enjoyed because it has that kind of almost oppressive feeling with, you know, the tall urban walls towering over you. You feel very small in the midst of this setting. And yeah, it can feel like there's that kind of desire to escape and seek other worlds. And actually, the way he's positioned this cloud, this rabbit-shaped cloud. So this piece is called "Follow the White Rabbit." I feel like it guides you into the center of that, into the possibility and the unknown. And I guess it's then that question of, do you want to leave the sanctuary of this urban environment that may be familiar or seek strange places beyond it? And obviously a white rabbit really should come with something of a warning if Alice's experiences were anything to go by. So yes, it leaves you kind of making your own mind as to what exists outside this wall, but just a really great depiction of the urban landscape in a slightly different, ethereal way. And yeah, that's Paul Brune's work. So I encourage you to check out more. He often displays it mounted on plexiglass. It really makes those colors that you see in a lot of the work really pop and be really vivid, which is a really nice touch. So that is Paul. And without any further ado, we're going to take you over to artist number 2, which is Jamie Bureal. So Jamie she refers to her collection as her iconic series. So really what she paints are these icons that she has met or seen or experienced in some way. They're often people of color, and they're often depicted with that kind of sense of inner strength and certainly that glow and beauty that she draws out in these pictures. One thing I should also say, in addition to listening to me talk about some of these pieces, with almost all of the artists displayed in all of the rooms in the virtual edition, there is the Meet the Others video. So you can click on this side panel here and be taken to a video from the artist hearing in their own words about them, about their work, about their stories, and about their collection. So really encourage you to dig into some of those and really get to know those artists a little bit better. But as for Jamie, what I'd love to draw your attention to is this particular piece. And straight away, we also hear that this comes accompanied by some lovely music. And I'm going to just hit pause so you can hear me just for now, but you can obviously continue to listen to that as you make your way around this gallery. So that's a good example where actually there are these other little Easter eggs and other bits of content that the artists have added to their collections, you know, to really help create a greater sense of storytelling for you all. So, you know, as you make your way around the virtual edition, you'll see more of that. But the reason we were hearing that music playing beautifully in the background there is that obviously it really relates to this piece. So this lady, this figure is holding the Cora. This piece is called Lady with Cora, which is a 21 stringed instrument from Western Africa. And again, you really do, in terms of these kings and queens that Jamie refers to her different figures as, her kings and queens, you really get that from this image, that long neck, that sort of dignified air, that very composed and calm demeanor, you know, that real authority about Judith in as she holds that chorus so delicately. And what she will use as the composition in many of her pieces is that kind of triangular composition of the, you know, the solid base that tapers off into the top. You see that really clearly here. And that's all about demonstrating in that composition that strength, that stability, that resilience in each of the figures. But the reason I love this piece is because it almost takes on new meaning by the virtue of the fact that Jamie has decided to create this piece. So that the Cora players of Western Africa across many centuries, they were called the Jali or the Jali Muso. And they were, as Jamie references, they were oral historians, say guardians of stories, of nations and of people. And through their music and through their poetry, they told these stories and they were the guardians of those stories. And I love the fact that art was used in such a way, but also through Jamie's work, she is now telling the story of these people, which is what this body of work is all about, championing those people that have had these rich stories and have these, you know, these meaningful existences that she wants to champion and celebrate. And that's a lovely way for her to do that in this piece. So that is Jamie Bureal. Now we're going to take us to our third and final artist I wanted to show off to you all, which is Marlin Powell. Now, Marlin is a Belgian artist based in Spain, and she creates these incredible figures, often on wood. She talks about the wood that she works on as being a lot more resilient, so she can add all these layers and then scrapes layers away and add more and more. And they're quite minimalist pieces. They often got these figures in them, and she talks about silence and solitude as a really key themes in her work. And she also has these things that are common through much of her work, which is these kind of open spaces that you know, are unexplained, but left to the viewer to kind of assess what they mean, where they lead to, where these figures may have come from. And yeah, so off the canvas exists these infinite possibilities that we're left to look at. And the piece I particularly wanted to show you is here. And I'm going to do a terrible job of pronouncing this, I suspect, but let me do my best. So, Un desconocido en casa. And so this piece is, I think, does a great job of showing so much emotion through these two static figures. And that is through this use of space and these open spaces and closed spaces and what they can mean. And I think this is, she talks of this being about that idea of living together but apart. And I think this is something that really resonates with me sometimes, in terms of you can be so close to a person and, you know, in such close proximity, but sometimes not fully be connected. And in that moment, there can be a vast chasm between you both. And I think this image is a portrayal of that as true as ever. So you have this figure that looks beyond that open window. We know not what they look at, nor of what they think. And so we're left wondering, there's that sort of it's actually a very neutral pose. So we don't have that sense that they're happy, sad, or angry. That is for us to kind of assess. But what we do know is that space between that figure in the background and the figure in the foreground, and the figure in the foreground looks on at that scene. And in that moment, for me, it feels like they are longing to be part of that, to understand it, to understand what is being looked at or being thought about, and be closer to it. But that lack of connection, that lack of explanation creates this vast distance between them, despite the fact they are inside the very same dwelling. And so, yeah, it conveys such emotion. Obviously very minimalist in terms of color. And I think that really allows the emotion of the figures and their stance to shout the loudest. So that's Marlin. Now, as I say, there's over 50 booths for you to go and check out. We also have our Saatchi art booth, which you can see there's a few collections with other suggested work from different artists from across the space. We have one of our partners, Society 6, who are working with the Summer Everything Community Centre, and money raised from the sales of artwork within the Society 6 booth will go towards that community centre in LA. So do check that out as well. And then, as we started off, we will return to, you have the Bombay bar, which will give you top tips to personalising your fine Bombay and tonic, which is making me very thirsty. So check it out. As well as this room of the Cutaway, there's tours of the other rooms available in the virtual edition. We're going to be here until the 29th of November. So I hope you can check it all out. I hope you can discover some fantastic artists. There's so many there for you to choose from. There must be someone who speaks to you and that you can fall in love with their work. And don't forget, all the work available is for sale. There may be some red dots popping up, but you can click through on different pieces of work and head to the information, and then you can make your way to Saatchi Art, where you'll be able to make that transaction, and prices do include shipping, so don't forget that. So I hope you enjoy it. Have an amazing time discovering some fantastic artists from all over the world, and we'll look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye.